Hello everybody and welcome back to Erlengrot. We have a window of opportunity that I am going to try to take advantage of and get some grass cut for our fermenter. We're down about halfway on our silage, so we could use to top it up a little bit, and that's what we're going to try to do today. But first, we need to get a little bit of fertilizer on our grass before we cut it. Now I know it's a little unrealistic to be plopping fertilizer on our grass and then cutting it the exact same day. Like that would do anything in real life, right? Well, it's taking advantage of a game mechanic. So we're gonna do. So if we take a look here at our nitrogen window, you can see we've got a couple different various levels of nitrogen. Right here we got loamy sand. It's okay. 120 out of 160. Move forward a little bit. We've got our loamy sand and it should drop. Yep, now we got 100 out of 160. It's bad. Bad nitrogen level. So what we've already done is we've already put slurry here. Got it up to 120 out of 160. But down here, where is it? Right down here, we haven't, and we're pretty bad. What we're going to do is we're going to apply slurry to this section and a little bit of slurry to the section up on our hilltop. And then I've been giving our cows and pigs some straw the last few days because I realized that we weren't burning through the straw as much as I was concerned about with respect to feeding, because obviously our calves have not been consuming food as ferociously as our milking cows have been. So we've been going through a little less PMR than I was originally expecting. So we've got kind of an excess of straw at this point, especially since 2 of our 4 fields of straw are ready to harvest. Those are the 2 fields that we bought. They're ready to harvest at this point. So I started feeding manure, or not feeding manure, but using manure for their bedding. Caused our slurry production to stop, but that's okay. We've got plenty of slurry for now. Because what I need to do is I need to come through and put some manure on this field in select spots in order to top off the nitrogen a little bit more. So we're going to put manure through all of this band here that's this light color to hopefully get it a bit darker, a bit closer to the optimal level. Also going to put manure on this little bit over here to our left. Basically, we're going to put manure here and here, which should bring it up to this color green here, I believe. And then we've got to bring this up and this area up here, this area over here up. Let me go ahead and kind of get slurry done. Bring it back when we get to our manure application. And yeah, we're really kind of just spot applying nitrogen at this point. to optimize our grass yield when we do have a chance to cut it again. Now, we've got a little bit of break in the weather. Originally, we were going to have rain for several days straight, but it looks like the weather has broken, and we're going to have clear skies, cloudy skies to clear skies for the next day and a half or so. Now, we've just had a fair bit of rain, so we do have to wait for things to dry out. But here we are. Nitrogen's okay, 140 out of 180. Here we are, perfect. 180 out of 180. We actually want to apply slurry to this lighter green color also. But we don't need to apply it beyond this kind of magic border here. Because that area already has 200. Don't want to go over it. Kind of drawing, looking at the little mini map. Then of course we'll fill it in. Like a beeline to the corner where that road turns. Good. All right, so let me go ahead and get this filled in. I'll be right back. All right, so we've got some nitrogen here. I've already applied some fertilizer, specifically manure. Here we're up to 140 out of 140. Perfect for our nitrogen. Let's go over here to where we haven't applied manure. You can see we are at 120 to 140 out of 160. So what we're just trying to do is get that light color to a shade of green, which should put us a lot closer to the ideal nitrogen level for grass for this particular soil type. And we will continue that across the field. Then that's going to get us in a position where we're going to be ready to start cutting grass, collecting it, and putting it in our fermenter. We don't need to get every single spot, but overall decent coverage. It's going to be good enough. Because the game lets you apply slurry and manure in the same growth stage. And in essence, you can get double the fertilizer benefit as a result. over here, and then we will turn and cut across here. We hire a helper. So we're getting this 180 out of 180. We're a little over here. 20 out of 160. That is exactly what we're looking for. $140 out of 160. Right behind where we were. Perfect. 160 out of 160. Get over here. We're at 120. 120 out of 160-ish. Come over here now, directly behind this manure, we are 140 out of 160. Going to be a lot better. 200 out of 180, but you can see we've turned off our manure spreading at that point. Hop in this guy and off. This in, and then yeah, we're just going to fill in this area right behind the sawmill with manure, and then I'll be right back with you as we reap the rewards of our organic fertilizer application, I should say. Well, now that we've got our grass basically to about as optimal levels of nitrogen as we're going to get, with the impeding weather that is coming tomorrow, the fact that we've got no clear skies, well, I mean, not dry crop, there's no chance of getting any harvest in. Well, we're making the best with what we've got, and I've got my Unitrack out here. We went and purchased a small used mower. Seems to float better on the ground with the Unitrack than our other front mower. Got our forage wagon on the back, and well, just collecting grass for our fermenting silo. Kind of top it off at this point. Let me back up here so you can see we've got 459,000 liters of silage in our fermenter. We can hold 800,000 liters, so we are just over halfway full. Collected 27,000 liters of grass at this point. We obviously have a good ways to go to get it full, but that's okay because we've got really plenty of time to do it. And at this point, what we can do is, when there isn't anything else that can be done on the farm, well, we can grab in our Unitrack and get to collecting grass for the fermenter, really. Got more hay than we really need. If we do happen to have a good long window later into the year, I will have plenty of grass that we can bring in for hay also. We don't want our fermenter to run out. And I'll be very interested to see where we are with yield on this particular cutting. Given the fact that we've got a varying range of pH on this field, but it's not terribly bad. I'll be a little curious to see how well we do on yield and if our efforts have been worth it or not. I'd say right now the efforts a little unclear. Need to get a bit more cut. So right at this point we're kind of cutting the fringes of the grass. This front mower does float really well with the Unitrack over varying terrain compared to the other one. The other one was digging in a lot, was very fixed, didn't float, caused the front wheels to kind of get up off the ground. This one's floating really well. Has a little smaller working width, but still. It gets the job done on rough terrain. She gets the job done on rough terrain is what I'm trying to say. And we get about one full pass around this grass pasture here, meadow, whatever you want to call it, before we end up filling the wagon. That works out also in our favor. Remember, we had really interesting yield breakdowns last time. Lower down here into the bottom of the hill we had 125% yield, and then we had like 65% yield for the top. The way the colors are now, it looks like getting a more uniformed 60 to 70% yield across the whole thing. Look at this. pH 6.5, 6.25, 5.75. Nitrogen 200, and a little bit of here where we've been around it is down a little bit. Not a lot. We're going to have to cut through the middle to get a little better picture of that. But our yield is 65%. Pretty uniform all the way across, all the way around the field. 65%. So here we have good nitrogen and good pH. Down 0.25 on our pH. We've got perfect nitrogen right here. I think what I'll do is I'm going to cut a path right through the field. And then we can compare the values to the left and right. It's unloaded. That yield of 65%. That is really standing that whatsoever. Okay, we're gonna go here. They're gonna cut a path through. And we have different types of soil. That's why we have different pH levels, but we are getting the same yield across all of this. Same 65% yield. And we have loam, sandy loam, that we've driven through. And we've had pH of 6.25, 6.5. We've had nitrogen levels between 200 and 180 that we've driven through. Perfect nitrogen. And if we look, nitrogen hasn't dropped where we've mowed. So what's up with that? I don't know. What's up with that? Widen this swath a little bit. Maybe we've got a little margin, too large a margin of error with our narrow sub 3 meter mower here. Clearly it's giving us, indicating that we have a yield of 65%. Then we've got loam down here at the bottom, which is perfect nitrogen of 200, down a little bit on pH. That is it. Max growth. we should be at 125, 100% yield, not 65% yield. Or like, clearly that should be wide enough, right? That should be. So 6.375. For here, our pH is 6.375. Keep going down here. .5 versus 6.75. I mean, I shouldn't be seeing that much yield reduction because of the lime need. I really wouldn't think I would see that much of a loss. We are very clearly getting an indicator. Their pH isn't going down at all. pH and our nitrogen levels aren't dropping at all. But we are seeing a yield reduction of just 65%, whereas we had 125% yield last time. I am at a loss. I am totally confused as to what's going on. If anybody has any kind of suggestions, ideas, let me know. But again, I wouldn't think that the 0.25 reduction in lime, quarter point in lime pH, would really totally tank the yield like this. And we're not even seeing the pH change. So this is what my evening is going to consist of, just hauling grass back and forth, back and forth. And until next time, happy farming. Be sure to like, subscribe, and click that notification bell.